So it has been reported in the news last week that there are former idols who are coming together to form a committee to research and provide their findings and get into how the idols can form a union. That they think that the idols should be unionized. Now, we're going to get into it because some people think this is a setup. Some people think this is a Minhee Jin plan. Y'all know, some of y'all see Minhee Jin at every corner and every turn, that she's everything that comes out. Because baby, there's some things in this article that was released that I agree is a bit shady. And so we're going to talk about the article. We're also going to talk about how I feel about idols unionizing and what that means for the industry. And also, I have something to reveal. There's something that has happened in the industry that I've talked about in my live streams. There is a group out there that I will not name, but I will tell you the situation and circumstances. I do know the idol group, but to protect the victims, I will not tell you the name of this group, but I will tell you a tale. That is a tale that you can look up, and this really did happen. And I will tell you a tale of how a particular young man in an idol group was mercilessly um, abused by the CEO. And so this is not a rumor. This is something you can look up, but the names have remained anonymous. But I know the name of the group. I know the agency, and I know who did it. And in order to protect people, I will keep it anonymous. But I will promise you, I will tell you a story that you probably never heard before, because I told people I do a weekly K-pop live stream, and nobody has heard the story until I brought it up. And then people were looking it up, and it's something that you can verify anonymously. These people have stayed anonymous, but I will give you a horrific example as to what has happened in K-pop. So I'll give you two examples that you may have heard, and one example I'm sure that you've never heard, for a group that will remain anonymous, because I know someone who is connected to this situation. So anyway, where are my manners? Hi, hola, konnichiwa. Hi. Guten Tag, Anyo, Anaseo, Nihama. To all my viewers and subscribers worldwide, thank you for visiting my channel. I'm Nomadic Kitty, where we talk about K-pop. We talk about the K-pop industry. Let me put some disclaimers out there. First of all, I am not into girl groups. Before y'all try to designate me as a Fear Not or a Little Monster or whoever, or Blink or whatever, I am not into girl groups. I casually like certain girl groups, but girl groups, I could care less what New Jeans do or don't do. It's not an emotional thing for me. It's not it's not like I'm a hater of New Jeans or anything like that, or any other group out there, period. But my channel is I'm BTS Army. BTS is the mission, but not the focus. I do talk about other groups. I do talk about things in the industry. I do have friends in the industry. I have a family and family members that have been in the American music industry since the 40s. Various family members, various relatives behind the scenes, and also talent that have involved in the American music industry. And so myself, I've never been in the music industry. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not musically inclined. I can't carry a tune to write no music, but I've never worked for the music industry. But I just give y'all knowledge and things that I know of from the people that I know and the people that tell me things. And I try to be respectful to people involved, and just give you guys insights that you probably won't hear on any other channel. So you guys ready? Okay. November 8th, there was an article that came out. And in this article, it talks about former idols that have formed up like Voltron. They formed up like Voltron. They're like, and they are coming out with a committee. So in this committee, it will be like an exploratory committee to see if they can unionize idols. So they are talking about looking at contracts, looking at labor laws. Right now in South Korea, for those of you who didn't know, Korean idols are designated as service workers. They are not designated as employees. Now, if they were designated as employees, it would mean that they would have labor protections. So that would mean they would have, like a lunch break, wages, health insurance, retirement, and stuff like that. For those of you who didn't know, idols have none of that. They don't have any regular employee protections. Like I'm in America, so I know that we have protections of how many hours you can work per day and how many lunch breaks, and you have to get a lunch and then two 15-minute breaks and stuff like that. Idols are not designated as employees. South Korea has labor laws as well. I learned this a couple of years ago, was shocked that they're designated as a service employee, something I had never heard of. I used to work in HR, and so I had to look it up and really research as to how this happened. And this has been going on since the inception. So they're not even contract workers. But it's kind of akin to contract work. Again, it's a weird designation that I had never heard of. And so, yes, service workers basically are paid. Um, they have paid per contract. So whatever they have in a contract, they get a certain percentage of earnings or album sales, brand deals, and stuff like that. So that is all set up by the agency. So really, idols are at the mercy of their agency. I said in my last video, if you look at my last video, I did a video regarding Adore versus New Jeans case. And I said I didn't think anything was going to change in the K-pop industry unless the South Korean government steps in and forces it to change. And I still say that somebody has to step in and force it to change. And again, the labor laws doesn't have to be the same for the idols that they do for regular employees. They could tweak it, and things can be tweaked and adapted to the agency. I know the agency doesn't want this. I know those in the agency hate the idea, hate the idea of unionization coming to idols, because that affects the bag, that affects their money. And so I get it. I get it as to why they would be against it. But, the big four agencies are fine. Like, that's fine. It's the smaller agencies, it's the issue. So this particular committee or group is going to be spearheaded by a former idol. His name is Cap. He was part of a former boy group called Teen Top. And Teen Top was like second generation. And I went and looked them up because I wasn't very familiar with them. And they were like in the wave of groups that came out between like the second and third generation. And so and he's been pretty vocal throughout the years. He was pretty vocal against Hani and New Jeans. Like he got up there and said that, that she wasn't mistreated, and if she really was worried about the industry, she would have brought other idols with her or former artists with her to give examples of how the business, can mistreat people. But because somebody didn't say hi to you in a hallway or you didn't get a brand deal, that doesn't constitute mistreatment, which is the same thing that a lot of us have been saying. That's not a breach of contract. It's not misconduct. It's not abuse. You're not being mistreated. Your rights are not being violated because somebody didn't say hi to you or you didn't get a brand deal. That's ridiculous. So regardless of Hani getting up there before the General Assembly in South Korea and crying and carrying on, this particular person criticized her. And so, which I thought was good. Again, I read the article and I was like, this is great. They're going to look into the contracts. They're going to look into changing their designation. They're going to look into like the wages and the wage laws. And they're going to present their findings before like the Ministry of Entertainment and Culture and Tourism, which is the ministry in South Korea that governs like entertainment and stuff. So I thought this was good. Everything was on the up and up until you read the end of the article. And at the end of the article, it was like also that this committee is going to look into Hybe. I'm like, wait. I'm reading. I'm like, we're going to look into Hybe. What? Hybe is one of the big. Why are we going to look into Hybe? So they're going to look into Hybe. Hybe has a safe designation. It's kind of like, Korea businesses have different designations just depending on, they'll go and see what kind of services and facilities they have. Hybe does have a mental health facility. I've talked about this in my RM video. Some of y'all are wondering how I knew this. I know it. I also realized that Hybe also has to where you can do Zoom calls with health professionals, and that the company will facilitate that. So that's something else. But as to why this committee is all of a sudden at the end of the article picking on Hybe, I don't know if this was put in the article to get clicks and views, because there's a lot of Hybe haters and put anything Hybe in it. So I don't know if they're really going to do this or what, but it is very, 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 very suspicious. And so yeah, it's been a bit suspicious. So a lot of people are why is this article and this committee suspicious? Well, a lot of people are pointing to the timing, that this article came right after the Adore New Jeans verdict. And so people are saying, well, the timing is a little off. And then, like I said, at the bottom of the article, the last paragraph, it talks about them investigating Hybe and the Hybe safe designation. And, you know, because Hybe, I guess, you know, they have like the entertainment ministry will go and investigate each company, and they will give them like a designation just depending on what facilities that they had. I said Hybe has a mental health center at Hybe headquarters. They also have mental health resources available, like Zoom calls and everything, if you can't physically attend. And so Hybe got a really good rating and good designation. Like I said, the best way I could describe it is like saying it's a good place to work. Like we see that here in the States. And so this committee, the first thing they're going to do, well, not the first thing, but one of the things they're going to do is look at Hybe's designation. Like that's why some people are saying that they feel like this committee may have something involved with Minhee Jin. And again, the guy who wrote the article, who's supposed to be the media person for this committee, is a known Hybe hater. So I don't know. So is this committee a publicity stunt? I don't know. So basically, a lot of people thinking that what they're trying to prove, this committee, is that Hybe has somehow violated the rights of New Jeans, or Hybe somehow treats their idols improperly. There's some people think this committee is like an attack dog or going to be used as a hit piece for Hybe. We shall see. I am hoping not. I am seriously hoping not. Because if anybody's trying to prove that New Jeans was treated bad by Hybe, it's laughable. I had someone in my comments on my New Jeans video talking about, well, Hybe did this and Hybe did that. First of all, you have to have proof. Anybody can get online and say Hybe did anything regarding New Jeans in Adore. Again, that's not a river to cross with me, because I've said it in my live streams and my videos before that I don't think Hybe went further enough. I've said before and came on the record and said that if I worked for Hybe and I was in their PR and I was in charge of their corporate, I would have dug up everything dirty about New Jeans, and I would have secretly, quietly leaked information to the press, making all of these people look bad, including their families. I would have went to SM. I would have talked to former employees who didn't like Minhee Jin, and I would have leaked things to the public. That's how I would have done. I feel like if Minhee Jin want to play dirty with the press, I would have played dirty as well. But that's just me. So that's not a road to go on. If you're gonna tell me that Hybe did dirty things to, you know, in the background to New Jeans or to Minhee Jin, I'm like, where? Show me the proof, because to me they did. Again, you're preaching to the choir, honey. I felt like they did not go far enough. So don't ask me to stand on some moral platform, honey. I'm a is justified a means kind of person. I feel like Minhee Jin played Hybe like a fiddle. I've said this before. They drug Hybe. They affected their stock prices. They drug Hybe for filth, and Hybe, to me, did not have a proper comeback to my standards. Again, somebody else may think it's differently. I would have drugged him for filth. That would have been me. Behind the scenes, in a sneaky way, because that's how it's done in politics. Now, I know that. That's how it's done in politics. For FYI, in America, there's a lot of stunts and tricks and flips and all kinds of media plays in politics. Hybe, to me, let Minhee Jin dog walk them, and I've said it before. I have not seen any evidence where Hybe mounted any kind of smear campaign against New Jeans. I wish they had that kind of backbone, but they didn't. So I'm not against it. So that's not a road to travel on. Second of all, anybody trying to prove that New Jeans was mistreated, they've already had the court case. The lawyer came back, the judge came back and talked for 45 minutes about how their claims were unfounded. First of all, even let's just say all the New Jeans claims were founded. Let's just say they had solid evidence that everything that they said or claimed against Adore or Hybe was correct. Even still, you mean to tell me that it is a breach of contract because somebody didn't say hi to you in a hallway? You mean to tell me it's a breach of contract because you didn't get a brand deal that is not in your contract, that is not promised, but you're upset because another group got a brand deal? You mean to tell me it's a breach of contract in your civil rights and your humanity because your group didn't debut when you're supposed to tell me? You mean to tell me that it is mistreatment because supposedly somebody plagiarized your group when it really turned out that New Jeans plagiarized a Mexican girl group. And everything about your music, your style, everything about you is stolen from black folks in the West. Get the fuck out of here. Go talk that to somebody else. That is not an evidence of mistreatment. I don't know why Hani got up before the General Assembly and up there, up there crying. What are you crying for? Because somebody didn't say hi to you in the hallway? That is not in your contract. I'm facts over feelings. Is it in the contract? No? Okay. Because some group didn't bow to you. Bang PD didn't say hi to you in the elevator. That's not mistreatment. You want to know what mistreatment is? I'm going to tell you what mistreatment is. Now, I got my trusty laptop, and as respect to the victims, I'm going to try to be as professional and concise as possible. That's why I typed up something and I pulled it up. So you want to talk about mistreatment. Being part of the Big Four allows you to have a certain level of protections and eliteness that small groups do not have. The Big Four are JYP, Hybe, SM, and YG. Those are the Big Four. What they call the Big Four, which is the four biggest agencies in South Korea for music. So K-pop has things called agencies for people who didn't know. And these agencies, they have a trainee system. They house the idols. Some agencies like Hybe have different group labels and subsidiaries that they bought that are beneath them. And so yes, the agencies, the Big Four, have the most resources. They issue the biggest paychecks. New Jeans were getting paid $5 million, which is unheard of for small agencies and smaller groups. So those are the big agencies. Then you have mid-tier agencies that are like KQ, which is home to ATEEZ, Starship, which is home to, I think, Monster X, and there's a bunch of like mid-tier agencies. Then you have the smaller agencies. These agencies maybe have 2 or 3 groups, a few solo artists. They may have one group that's like the flagship group, or they may just be a agency that are struggling. They're trying to get their foothold in the business. A lot of these small agencies, they come and they go. Like they'll be here one day and then they will, they will leave lots of debts. It is expensive to run an agency. You have to have investors. It is not an easy thing to run an agency and start an agency. But yes, there are some CEOs that are unscrupulous. There are people who work there that don't want to pay their employees. There are people who start agencies as a get rich quick scheme. I'm going to say it again. Yes, there are people who start agencies that work their idols to death because they understand, they look at their idols as a cash cows in a way for them to get money, fame, power, or whatever. And they have no love for the business. They have no people skills. They have no accounting skills. They barely pay their staff. There are some people who are in the K-pop industry that should not be in the K-pop industry. I said what I said, and a lot of people in the industry know, they understand and realize this. But a lot of the young people, they're desperate, they're looking to get their foot in the door, and they are looking for a chance. And the same thing for the staff. The staff are looking for a chance to break into the industry, and the best way to get hired is through a small agency. So yes, we're going to respectfully give you real examples of groups that have experienced things and that I feel should receive some sort of protections because these situations were not good. So the first group we're going to talk about, Omega X. So Omega X debuted in 2021 under Spire Entertainment. Originally, they comprised of 11 members, and I believe that the group has whittled down since then. They were billed as a second chance group because a lot of the members had previously debuted with other groups, and so they began activities. A lot of people were excited. A lot of they remember them from other groups. So they were on tour. They came to fame pretty quickly. They hit the ground running. They're very talented. In 2022, this is around the time that I became a K-pop stan. I started getting into K-pop 2022. So in 2022, this video propped up. A video surfaced. This video was taken by a fan. So they were supposedly in LA. And so this fan was coincidentally staying at the same hotel that Omega X were at. And so imagine you being a fan and you be excited because you see your group. You go to concert. This is after the concert. So this fan was like, oh my God, oh my God, there's Omega X. So this person was excited. You can hear them on with their cell phone. And then they, they just thinking that they're gonna be cool and peek around the corner and take video because that's the group they like. They're like, oh my god, it's Omega X. Little did the fan know, child, honey. This person took a video, and it was Kang Song Hee. Kang Song Hee was Spire Entertainment, um, Omega X's entertainment company. That was their CEO. She was a lady. So Kang Song Hee is a lady. The fan caught this lady, CEO, verbally and physically attacking the members in LA. She was shouting, she was screaming, she was pushing them. And the other member was saying that, I don't know which member, he was sick. They were saying he's sick. And he fainted. I don't know whether he was sick with COVID. I don't know what it was. Some people said he was sick with COVID. Some people said no, he was just fainted. He was overheated. She was screaming and yelling at him like, get up, get up, get up. The video is still online. It is very disturbing. I saw this video again. I was new to K-pop. I didn't know what was going on. I saw that video and I was like, who is Omega X? Like, what is, And so the ish hit the fan. So further reports came out that the members were forced to perform during COVID, that they had COVID infection, and that they were forced to perform even while they were sick. So that's how it came out that maybe allegedly one of the members were like he was sitting on the curb. You can see in the video, he was sitting on the curb and he's like slumped over, and you can tell that he's something wrong. And the other members looked, they were terrified, to really say anything. And this lady was like in his face, like, like pushing on him, yelling at him. She saying some really bizarre things like, I go through things, you don't see me complain. Like, it was just like what she was saying was just really bizarre. Like, anyway, like it just sounded inappropriate to me. I was like, that's not really, why would she like I said, if you go back and listen to it or read the transcripts of the conversation, you would think the conversation was a bit wackadoo. To me, it was an inappropriate conversation for a CEO really to be at. It sounded a bit too personal to me. And so they also said that the members were forced drinking, sexual harassment, intimidation. Now, let me clear this up. Some of the members have claimed that the CEO would text message them or call them early in the morning and tell them that they needed to go host a party or that they need to go drinking with her and some friends, or that investors were coming and that they needed to show up, and like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. There are some alleged rumors out there that the CEO messaged certain members asking them, what are you doing? Can you come over? Can you come hang out with me? I'm lonely. Like, these is allegedly that this CEO was wildly, grossly just improper. That she, again, from my opinion, that she looked at these boys like they were playthings. Like, there was conversations and things that I have heard about that are grossly improper. That if this was a man, it would definitely set off alarm bells. Even though she's a woman, it still set off alarm bells. She shouldn't have been calling them at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And again, y'all may have heard other things than that, but those are some of the things that I heard that I was like, why is she calling? Like, she would just call them, like, and be like, hey, what are you doing? Can you come over and drink? I'm bored. Da, da, da. Like, I'm just like, lady, no. In turn, Spire Entertainment accused one member, Hui Chan, of essaying the CEO, and a countersuit was filed. The group announced, and I remember the press conference, November 2022, publicly detailing the alleged assaults and filed for termination of their contract. So in January 2023, Omega X won an injunction suspending their contract with Spire Entertainment. And in May 2025, the former director of Spire, the CEO, was charged with indecent assault of 6 members. Spire had also tried to claim that the group had tampered with the contract, saying that they switched agencies improperly, stuff like that. But the court ruled in favor of Omega X. In mid-2023, the group signed with IPQ Entertainment and continued activities, but the damage hit their trust, image, and schedule. Members spoke openly about having panic attacks, sleepless nights, and trauma and power abuse, and just general mistrust of the industry. And so they still are performing. They're still out there. And this was a very high profile case, and many idols and many of their fans and people who weren't their fans started to question the industry. So that's one. The next group that I need to talk about is MADEIN. So MADEIN, MADEIN, Made in, get it? Was formerly known as Limelight. They were a rookie all girl group. Mega Omega X was a boy group. Okay, they were launched by 143 Entertainment, and they officially debuted, but then they re-debuted under the name MADEIN in 2024. And so they originally had, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six members, and everything looked good. They had new music. They had some songs that were charted on the Korean charts. In November 2024, JTBC, which JTBC is a media outlet, they have an investigative program, and they alleged that the CEO of 143 Entertainment had harassed a member of the group who was then a minor. In Korea, anybody 19 and under is considered a minor, and in the United States, it's under 18. Um, so there was tapes leaked, okay, where you hear a man talking to a girl, and again, I think she recorded it. It was never really, I didn't really look up like who recorded it, but I remember when this story hit, and it was very sad. And you could hear the girl on the tape and a man, and you could hear the girl just like, and the man is asking her, "Can you go on a date with me? Just kiss me. Come sit next to me." They're on a plane, okay, and this man is like harassing her, and she's like, "Please, just leave me alone. Please, stop, please, please, and you can hear the girl on the tape saying, no, no. She's saying, no, I don't want to go on a date with you, whatever, whatever. So these tapes, you can go out and listen to these recordings. They got linked to JTBC, and JTBC put them on air, and it's very disturbing. And you can tell the distress in her voice. And they have transcripts of these recordings also online. And so and so it was very interesting. So it was very, very interesting to listen to these tapes, and it's very, very very heartbreaking. And so I and so then fast forward to, and then so the CEO he's a 40 something year old man. She was 19. She's a member of the group. So a member of the group called Godin. Godin is her name. So it came out because eventually they were in the beginning they were trying to keep it under wraps, like which group member, but eventually got out. It was a member called Godin. And so Godin, on April 29th, 2025, she filed a police report accusing the CEO of verbal threats, physical harassment, and SA. Okay. She, Godin, came out to be identified as A. She is reported, she said that she was in the CEO's office as well, and it lasted for 3 hours with verbal threats and unwanted advances. Okay, all of this started when this Godin girl, apparently this spearhead, you're like, what started all this? Because they were in a group. Why her? Apparently Godin, she was caught in the dorms with a boy. Like, they weren't doing anything, but I guess she was seeing some little boy. I guess she was seeing as a trainee, and then as when she go in the group, they're not supposed to have any boys in the dorm. And apparently she was seeing, she had a boyfriend, apparently. She tried to say he was a friend. Apparently she got caught in the dorms with this boy. Okay, like, again, they weren't in the middle of doing anything, but I guess the little boy was coming to see her, and that was supposedly her boyfriend. And they were not supposed to have any boyfriends, and especially not supposed to have any boyfriend in the dorm. So the CEO found out about it. Ever since then, he had started harassing Godin, allegedly. So ever since then. So I don't know. Again, I won't go into the really creepy theories. I don't know, but he was saying things to her, asking her, was she doing things with her boyfriend, allegedly. And so after she got caught with this boy in her dorm, this creepy man who's in his 40s zeroed in on her, I guess assuming that she had, already been intimate with her boyfriend. So I guess I guess that rolled, maybe it was time for him to shoot his shot. I don't know. Either way, it's creepy, it's gross, and disgusting. Um, And at the time, she was under 18 when all this started. Um, so so this triggered the protection laws underneath Korean's youth and offense laws, child youth offense laws. The agency initially denied it, calling the claims untrue, but they were internal documents like an apology pledge from the CEO. It surfaced. And apparently, this agency, other employees eventually started to come forward saying that they weren't paid, that they had witnessed certain things, and they said that money was coming up short. And then also the CEO was buying the group members like Gucci purses and expensive bags and stuff. I don't really know what that was all about. I don't know if he was buying their silence, because some of these things happened right in front of her other group members, and they, of course, didn't know what to say or do. They're all young ladies, and so they also told Godin that she had to go online and put a post on her social media saying everything was fine and it's a misunderstanding. They made her, but it came out, they said that her parents and her alleged that they made her say this online. So eventually the member was reportedly dismissed or forced out of the group without explanation. So allegedly making her the scapegoat rather than the victim. So the scandal grew. Reports revealed, like I said, issues with 143 Entertainment. Also allegedly mistreated the staff members. So Godin officially filed a complaint. She held a press conference with her mother and legal team and exposed the depth of the issue and the problem. The agency then released a statement denying the allegations that many parts different from the facts, while pledging to cooperate with the investigations. At the same time, the group started losing members. So Godin was gone, and then a member, Soo-hee, announced indefinite status in May 2025 amid ongoing controversy, and then another member left. So they went from 6 members, now they're down to 4, and they rebranded themselves as MADEIN S. Also online, the fans boycotted. There's been a consistent online campaign against MADEIN S or MADEIN, and nothing against the young ladies who are in the group, but they have boycotted their songs, they're boycotted their videos, they have and so all of these things have been going on and still going on. There's a wide social media boycott against anyone downloading their music and giving any kind of money to 143 Entertainment. With the CEO, he is no longer the CEO. He is no longer the CEO. Another guy stepped in. And then the CEO, apparently, because netizens be netizen, they dug up information and found out that the CEO is a producer. He's still working for 143 Entertainment, and he's now a producer. So people were upset about that. So people have been telling people to ban 143 Entertainment altogether. Even their solo artists, all of the artists, because they have not gotten rid of this man. So we can see like there's a pattern of agency and denial and things like this in MADEIN's situation. And again, another situation where an artist was truly been mistreated. And God knows what the other girls have experienced. And maybe they haven't said. The other 2 that left, the other ones that left the group, because they brought another one in and another one left. So they have had some changes in their lineup. And now they even stopped, I believe, performing in South Korea, that they pretty much have performed in Japan and released their music in Japan. And so because it's gotten so bad with the boycotts. So that's one example. And then my last example is of a group that will remain anonymous. And the last example I'm going to give you is the one where it will remain anonymous. This is a boy group. I won't tell you how many members, but it is a K-pop boy group. It is a K-pop boy group that I believe debuted in 2024. I believe either late 2023 or early 2024. This is a boy group. This particular boy group hit the ground running. This particular boy group, again, before I knew anything about this, I watched Kville, and I watched the Korean charts, and I saw this boy group. They had performed on stage. They came out, they debuted. They had at least 3 or 4 songs that had charted, which is pretty good for a rookie group. They are part of a small agency, one of these smaller agencies, and they performed very well. They had a very unique look. They had a very unique sound, and I was like, okay, all right. And then like I said, two of their songs I heard frequently, and I heard, and it was on the charts for quite a while. And like I said, they hit the ground running at debut, and I was like, oh, okay. And like I said, I had heard of this group. Now I didn't know anything that was going on in this group. Apparently, in this group, there's been other dramas as well, but I won't get into it. We'll just stick to it. From what I somebody about May of this year told me this story. And then I got on a live stream about a couple of months ago and told my subscribers this story. And again, this group will remain anonymous. This boy band, some one member was in particular started out, I think he started at least being a trainee when he was 15. By the time they debuted, this kid was like 16 and a half, and then by the time they really got the ball rolling in their career in 2024, I think in late 2024, he was 17. So by the time this incident happened, he was 17, still a minor. So this particular CEO allegedly, I'm gonna tell you allegedly, had a reputation in the company and with this boy group as not being a nice person. This person would drink, and this person would show up at the boys' dorm. They had a small dorm, so you can imagine there was a bunch of boys. I won't say how many, but let's just say over five. And so there was at least five of them in this small, like, two-bedroom apartment or dorm or whatever they want to call it, two-bedroom apartment. And so, just imagine the chaos with young teenage boys. And some of them, they're all under the age of 21, I believe. I think the oldest one might have been 20. And so, they're young, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, like around that age. So you can imagine just the chaos ensued, especially for those of us who are BTS fans. We just imagine, like, I have one son, so I can just imagine with a bunch of boys. So this CEO would get mad at them, just whatever happened at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning would happen during the day. So he would show up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and he would have dorm inspections. He would show up, sometimes alone, sometimes with another member of staff, and berate them about how dirty the dorm was. And which, again, I don't agree with their apartment or dorms being dirty. I don't like that. But he would show up and scream at them and yell at them and threaten them. And so they would have to pop up out of bed and furiously figure out what's going on. Just, he's yelling at them. He's drunk. And so they would have to hurry up and start cleaning. So this would happen frequently all the time. Or if they were late to a performance or late to rehearsal, he would show up at odd times at night and stand them all up, have them stand in line and yell at them, allegedly. Why were you guys late to rehearsal today? Why were you late? What is going on? Like, and the boys were terrified of this man. They were scared. And so this happened off and on all the time. So to make a long story short, the youngest one, again, he's 17. There was a rumor in the company that the youngest one was either, again, I don't know if this is true or not, was either flirting with a management staff. I don't know whether the management staff was male or female. I don't know, or how old this person was. In order to work, usually for K-pop, usually most of the staff members are at least 18, 19, 21. But again, this is a small group. K-pop, this is a small company. And so, but most of the time staff are at least 20, 21, like that. So the person may have been older. So apparently rumor was going around that this 17-year-old was seeing a member of staff. Like, I don't know how far this went. I don't know, maybe it was just a flirtation. Maybe they went on a few dates. I don't know how far, or if this was even true. Because in the entertainment industry, even within a company, there's a lot of rumors. Or like I said, maybe they were just flirting with each other. And maybe somebody started to whisper. So apparently the CEO, because, again, let me say, when you work for a small group, a small agency, the CEO could be the van driver. The CEO could be also the producer. Like I understand that when Big Hit first started, Bang PD wore a lot of hats. And that applies to any small agency, that you have different people wearing different hats. So the CEO, was it's a small company, so he was really involved in their day-to-day a lot. but they did have other staff members. Um, but again, he accused this 17-year-old. So he told him, don't stop seeing this person. So then time went by and it got out again. So the CEO in one of his alleged drunken nights or whatever, hears again that this 17-year-old is seeing some staff member. And so the CEO shows up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. This time he's really angry because he's already warned the kid a few times, saying, and again, if that was the concern, he should have fired the staff member. If he still felt like that way, I don't why he didn't go to the staff member and get mad. I don't know. Why he didn't fire the staff member, I don't know if he did or not. I don't know. He shows up 2 or 3 o'clock, early in the wee hours of the morning, drunk. And this time he is in a fit of rage. Why? He wanted a mean drunk. He shows up in a fit of rage. This guy has, I've heard 2 stories. Either he has a metal bat with him, or a lot of the K idols and just people in general, you have these rolling racks. They have these metal, like a metal bar, and you hang clothes on. So it's like this rolling thing, and it's a metal bar, and and a lot of you guys have seen K idols dorms where they don't have enough closet space, of course. So they'll have these clothes racks, these rolling racks where they hang up their clothes, and you can buy these racks anywhere, any kind of like Container Store, Amazon. So either he brought a metal bat with him, or he took apart one of these rolling carts, just snatched the metal bar, because they're ones where you have to put them together. So he snatched the metal bar. Either way, I don't know which one. Some kind of metal steel bat or pipe. He proceeds to go after this 17-year-old. And he's swinging this metal pipe. Another band member, the band members are startled. Another band member steps in and tries to defend his bandmate. He gets hit with the pipe. This guy swings this metal bat or pipe, and he proceeds to beat this young man. He hits him several times. So this young man, he got hit several times with this pipe. This young man was hit so bad, from what I heard allegedly, he was in the hospital for 2 weeks. And the other young man who got hit upside the head a few times, he was in the hospital for 3 days. Now, police was called. Last year, investigation was made. And then this year in June, this particular K-pop CEO was sentenced to prison. He went to jail for assaulting a child. He went to jail. This is something you can look up. This story flew underneath the radar. This story was a story that I had never heard until somebody from the industry told me this story. This story was heartbreaking for me. I have a 15-year-old son. I could not imagine being a parent and having someone swing a steel pipe or bat or whatever at my child, and me not being there to protect my child. Regardless of whether this 17-year-old kid had an affair or had an experience or a dalliance or something, they should have been. The CEO apparently talked to this kid. The staff member should have been fired. Staff member was grown, allegedly. They should have been fired. Just point blank simple. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Because things like that has happened with staff, where they have had romances and dalliances with talent because they work together all the time. So this is a horrific story. I mean, this kid was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I don't know what happened to this young man. Last time I checked, this young man was not on social media. So what happened with the group, you guys are asking? This young man, the agency said that he caught COVID and he was gone, and they did a comeback. They totally changed up their style, I wouldn't say ruined, but totally different than the style that they started out as. So they did a comeback. They had a comeback, I think late last year, and then they were also like they've done tours in Asia and stuff like that. And the member that supposedly allegedly got hit, they said he had COVID, and then eventually they quietly said that he left the group. And then the other member, he was gone for like a week, and then he was brought back in, and he's still in the group. And they said he was sick with COVID too. And so, again, I didn't believe. I get a lot of industry, not a lot, but sometimes I get industry gossip and I don't really believe it. You know, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. But then, like this story, like this person was like, go. So when this guy went to trial and he got sentenced, I looked it up, and my friend sent me a link saying, look, he's going to prison, and my jaw dropped. So what she told me was true, was truthful. And I asked her, is it okay that I tell these details of the story? Because some of the details are in the articles, but there's much more to this story, but I can't divulge too much into it to try to protect the people who the victims. And again, this person, he is not in the industry anymore, and I so far that we know of, they removed him on from the group on social media, of course, and they had a comeback and they totally changed their style, and their song, I think it barely charted. And I don't know what they're doing. This group is doing now, but they have not had the success that they had before. So those are real world examples of groups that have been mistreated. So I don't want to hear anybody talking about New Jeans was mistreated or anything like that. Now I know those examples that I gave you are pretty extreme examples, but it's just examples nevertheless what happens in the business. So what do I feel about unionization of idols? I am 110% for a real union committee. I hope this committee is real. I am for anybody to protect the idols, especially in smaller groups. My groups are going to be okay. Okay, ATs, BTS, TXT, they're gonna be just fine. But there are groups in smaller agencies that are worrisome. There are so many agencies. I tell you all the time. There's new groups coming out every day, every week, every hour. There are much more new groups now coming out than there was 3, 4 years ago. It has really increased within the past 5 years. It has saturated the market. It has watered down K-pop, but that's a conversation for another time. It has watered down the quality of K-pop because now everybody wants the next Blackpink or the next BTS. I mean, to be honest with you, everybody wants to be the next big hit. Everybody wants to be the next Hybe, regardless of whether people want to admit it or envious of Hybe and Bang PD or not. But that's the goal. Everybody wants to be the next Bang PD or JYP or whatever. They want to be able to make lots and lots of money and hit it big. And so that's why there are much more agencies and much more groups than ever now. So a lot of these groups, again, there are a lot of people. There are people in, not a lot, but people in the industry that should not be working with young people. There are people in the industry that should not be working with children. There are people in the industry that have no love for music or the industry. They just look at it as a get rich quick scheme. It is a way for them to exploit people and make money. So idols, yes, I said the idol industry, I've said it before and said it again, is inherently exploitive. So is the American music industry, but at least we have legal protections. K idols do not have these legal protections. They're at the mercy of these small agencies. Like I said, these large agencies, they're good. The smaller ones, even with the large agency, I take that back. They have room to improve as well. But the small agencies is where people are vulnerable. It's where the ish has hit the proverbial fan in the small groups. These are three examples that I gave you, but there are much more nuanced things that have happened in the industry. Maybe not as bad as the example, but still, of idols being overworked, idols on these diets, idols that kids should not, that stymie their education, things that don't really get talked about. People really don't talk about the education of the idols being stymied. Some of these idols are so focused on what they're doing, they don't have a chance to go to college and get degrees. Thank God BTS came around a time in third generation where idols were actually encouraged to go to college and be trainees at the same time. Now I can say in the business, from what I've heard, it is discouraged for these young people to go to attend college and be trainees at the same time. So that is the difference in the industry now. There is much more scrutiny on trainees and on trainees to get a following online before they debut. And like I said, social media is a huge thing to deal with. There's a lot of more scrutiny on trainees these days, and there's a lot more more recruitment in getting trainees that have the certain look or the certain followers, or they already have a big huge social media presence. The industry has really changed since the second and third generations, even since the fourth generation. Now it is really globally driven, marketing driven type of thing now. And I'm not trying to take away from the talent of these artists, But I'm just saying that as of right now, a lot of the agencies, especially the small ones, look at the artists as cash cows. So yes, also let me add that this particular young man, the group I was talking about, his parents, they paid them a settlement. The agency paid him and his parents a settlement, by the way. So if y'all wondering like what happened, yeah, they got a nice settlement. I forgot how much the settlement was, but the agency paid them. Thank goodness. Cause yeah, so I forgot to bring that up. But I agree that stuff should be unionized. And also I had to bring up that the staff as well. Y'all don't understand, a lot of don't realize that the staff are mistreated as well. There's staff that has not been paid. There's a contract, you work for so what we would call a temp agency or a contract agency. There are contract workers all throughout K-pop, and a lot of times they only get paid once a month, and sometimes it's late. So there's a lot of things that are going on. Again, for somebody who knows people work in the industry, I'm here to speak on behalf of the staff as well. The staff have not been treated good either. They work long, difficult hours. They do a lot of things. Again, if you're working for a big agency that makes a lot of money, they can take care of their staff and provide catering for their staff and stuff like that. But for these smaller agencies, I know someone that in the industry that did work. They started out their career working for smaller agencies as a contract worker, and the things that she's described to me, I was like, I don't even know how she made it. I mean, she was told to take wardrobe home and clean it and sew it, and I mean, she like her work never stopped. She was new. She was a young one, and so when you're at the bottom rung of the totem pole, you expect to go get lunch for the stylist. You expect to go get sometimes lunch for the artist. You expected to go run and go get water. You expected to, steam, have stuff steam clean. Take this here to go get it clean. We need you to take this home and sew it. Sew these wardrobes and outfits. These are all things that a friend of mine have done in the industry as a stylist, starting out at the bottom, like as kind of like a step above an intern, not even a junior. She was like below the junior. So she was like an apprentice starting out. And everything that she went through for years to move up in the industry. So not only do the idols need protection, but the workers need protection as well because they are overworked, and contract workers are considered just contract workers. And so they're paid per hour or paid per assignment. They're paid once a month, and they don't get a lot of love either. And that's something that a lot of people really like the fans don't know about. They don't talk about. But those who work in the industry behind the scenes, there would be no industry without the behind the scenes worker. I always champion the behind the scenes workers. In order to run an agency and to be an idol, there are depending on the group, there are a dozen or more people making these idols look good, making sure their hair is done, hair, wardrobe, makeup, um, make sure they arrive on time, the van drivers, the security people, the people that are there to back them up in every way, shape, and form. When these idols go on stage, the people backstage are working. When these idols got to get up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and film all these stuff, the stylists and the wardrobes are there before the idols even arrive. They're there at the arenas before the idols even get there. They're setting up things, make sure everything is ready. So these are the real unsung heroes of the music industry. Is the support staff, is the managers, is the support staff, is the assistants. Like this, it's not an easy job. It's not all glamorous and sunshine and rainbows. It is hard work and long hours. And I think that when they talk about starting a K-pop union, I think that those workers deserve to be considered as well. So, but I believe that like if this committee isn't just a hit piece for Hybe, I hope this is a real thing. Again, we need to see reforms in K-pop, and I understand that it may change the industry and change the business. And again, change is never easy. Change is hard. But the K-pop industry and the artists deserve some sort of retirement plan, some sort of something. There's so many idols out there that are beyond the mistreatment, but they don't even have the financial protections after they this industry like sucks them dry, and they don't even have a retirement plan or 401k, stock options, nothing. A lot of them don't in these smaller agencies. So those are the people that I want to protect, you know, and also the one in the big agencies as well. And the children, God knows the children I want to protect. The young ones that are under the age of 19 deserve to be protected. Period. If they are not going to make it as a trainee, if they are idle and their group gets disbanded, they should have some sort of education credits or some kind of education fund or something, that a scholarship or something. Maybe these agencies need to start giving out scholarships. These are just my suggestions. I don't know. But I'm just saying that there should be something also put toward their education. Because again, you can't be an idol forever. And only certain ones go off. You know, not everybody can be G Dragon. Not everybody can be BTS. Not everybody, you know, can be Rain and be a real estate mogul and everything like that. Some people don't have the resources or the education or the support to do all that. Some idols just leave the idol life and go live a normal life. And some of them are really struggling. Like, you'd be surprised how many idols are working, you know, low level idols that are working at cafes, in their family's restaurants, at a car dealership. Like, you would be surprised, you know, that these, not everybody goes on into making it in the industry in other ways. Some people truly get left behind, and it leads to, and then they don't have an education, so their resources, their prospects are very limited. So those are the ones that deserve to look at. And so I hopefully this union thing works out, but I will keep you guys informed. So anyway, that's the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my deep dives. Thanks to all my subscribers, new people here. If you'd like to become a member, well, I have memberships. $1.99 will get you a membership where I do divulge K-pop gossip. If you're a member, you'll see videos. You'll get exclusive content. You'll hear a lot of my industry gossip. Also, I have a store. This is my K-pop baddie shirt. It says established third generation. I have a bunch of original merchandise for K-pop fans and stans. And so if you go on my channel, there's links to where it'll say shop, and you click on shop, it'll take you over to my t-shirt shop. T-shirts, hats, cups, mugs, accessories. If you like something to be made, custom made for you, you can reach out to me, send me a message. Also, I write BTS fan fiction. Nomadic Kitty FF is my handle on Wattpad. I will be starting a Substack soon to do my book too. I'm thinking about doing that. But I appreciate everybody. But just liking the video and commenting and subscribing is great. So you guys comment below. What do you think? Do you think this union thing is a setup? What do you think about the idol stories? Are there stories that you haven't heard before? You have heard. Maybe there's other stories you have. There's plenty of groups out there that have experienced woeful mistreatment. But anyway, I thank everybody for watching my video if you made it this far. So you guys have a blessed week and a blessed day. Thanks.